Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges, and joining me today is NC State, rising sophomore, Ross Dant. Ross, how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Let's get right into it. You are a distance phenom. You do pretty crazy distance swimming. Ever since you were in age group swimming, were you always a distance swimmer?
When I was younger, I was a 100 backstroker. So kind of before I developed into a distance swimmer, my first my first JO medal was the 100 back, and I was like 12 or something like that. I kind of get to do the backstroke now with the two back, but before I moved up into the senior group with Coach Jolly, I was a backstroker.
Okay. How did the transition to distance swimming start?
So our club team's very, very good with distance swimmers. We produce a lot of more aerobic athletes compared to power athletes. And so just kind of as I grew up swimming, as the team progressed through the ranks of the team, as I moved into the senior group, as kind of the training switched more from like sprint-based stuff to more distance aerobic swimming. So it just kind of worked naturally that way.
Yeah. What do you remember? Was that kind of a shock to your system? Did you fall in line pretty well with that? Was there a practice when you realized, oh, hey, I could be pretty good at this?
Not really, but I do remember my first mile. I don't remember how young I was, but I told my coach, I said, I'm going to hold 107s. It was like first YMCA state meet, I think it was. And he said, oh, you're not going to do that. And then I went out and did it. And I think that was the real awakening for both of us. Like, oh, I'm going to be a miler. And it's been a miler ever since. I'm not that thing.
So I think I had heard your name before this, but as we talked about, I really first saw you when we published a video of you swimming a mile backstroke.
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
So it was like the GCY winner invite or something like that. And Coach Bernandino, I told him I was gonna, it's kind of like an off me, just no tech suits, kind of in the speed of just the race. And I told him I had a choice between a mile or 4 IM because I was the only event option for that night. And he said, do the mile backstroke. So it was his idea, and he said I had to hold 5 dolphin kicks off each wall. So that was kind of my goal, and I just kind of went out and did it. And I did. I think I did it pretty well. So that was a fun time doing that.
I don't know how many other people would say that doing a mile backstroke was fun, but that's awesome. What do you remember your final time? It was pretty impressive.
I think it was I was sub 16. I was 16:27, I think. So I was holding sub minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty stout.
Thank you.
So at that time, were you still in high school?
Yeah, I don't know if I was a junior. I think it was my junior year. Yeah, because it was after. Yeah, it was into my senior year. It was the winter of my senior year of high school.
Okay. And had you already committed to NC State then?
Yeah.
Okay. What when you were, NC State, obviously great program. Bernardino had been. Was that Bernardino's first year there when you committed?
Yeah. No, I committed under Gary Taylor.
Okay.
And then I went through my junior year, I think, and did that summer with Gary, and then he got the head coaching position at Auburn. Then Dino came in a month afterwards. So, and then I've always been coached by him, but I committed under Gary.
Okay. Was that, obviously a coaching shakeup like that, maybe it gets you thinking, oh, do I still really want to go here? Or maybe you didn't think that at all. When that coaching change happened, what went through your head?
It was tough. But I'm still in NC State, and it was the right decision to stay there. But yeah, it's tough, especially right now with the whole Bobby situation. The younger recruits, they're all kind of just oh wow. So during that time, I kind of felt like I had an inside perspective, on these kids because I went through the exact same thing. I was a junior in high school. I was excited to swim under a coach, and then all of a sudden he gets an awesome position somewhere else. And so I didn't really have any doubts about NCC. I mean, I did a little bit, but I'm just being honest, I did a little bit. But then once I saw that Bernardino was coming in, it's just I was ready to go.
Yeah. What was your first interaction with Bernardino like?
Probably a phone call where I don't really remember. It was a phone call and he like yelled or something, and I knew I was gonna be awesome. I don't really remember our first interaction, but I remember it being really good. I think he just got like really energetic. I didn't really expect because he's older. It was really awesome to see that. But I remember to my first practice, it was really funny just because it was so different from when coaching with John or swimming under John, because he was like running around the pool deck yelling and getting all up in our faces and stuff. And it was really, really cool to see that. That was my first like time being swimming under him.
Mark Bernardino I would say he's a very surprising man.
Yeah, it's awesome to swim under him.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I met him, he's from his time at UVA, and then what he did with the distance group at South Carolina, and then at NC State. It's like, he's an intimidating legend.
Yeah.
And then you meet him, and he's like, what, 5'6" or something, and
a little teddy bear, but he'll kick your ass. Oh, excuse my language, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it's like, I'm 5'8", so I'm not tall, but it's like, but he's, you see him and it's this little old man, and you're like, oh, and he looks kind of gruff, and then he talks to you and he's like, hey, how's it going? Super nice, very kind, and like, wow, he's really nice. And then you see him coach and he's just yelling and screaming. It's, yeah, very surprising, but that's awesome.
One of the things he does push-ups during our practices. So we'll be doing something, you'll see him on top of the pool deck just repping out sets of 20 push-ups, like every time you take a breath or every time you're on the wall. It's really impressive.
Wow, that is, and he's like in his 70s, I think, right?
I think so. Or no,
maybe 60s.
He's late
okay.
60s.
Okay, that's impressive. I feel good about myself at all of 28 if I'm repping out sets of 20 push-ups.
Yeah, he's an animal, but it's awesome. He's awesome.
What? Okay, so give me some classic Dino sets that you've done in your 1 year at NC State.
First thing that comes to mind, it was Rocktober, or Rocktember, either one. Then normally there'll be like the Rocktober, which will be October training, but I remember the first day of September he had Rocktember, and then Rockcember for December. I don't remember if it was September or October, but we had 800s. It was 2 rounds of 800s, and it was like, what was it? Like an 800 straight, and then like 4 250s, and 2 400s, and 800 straight again. 2 rounds. Both 800s were fast, and then the 250s were broken up, so like they descended into a fast. So it started off with like a 50 fast, and then it progressively got into like a 250 fast, and then there were 8 100s on like 100. Instead of the 2 400s, there's 8 100s on 100 straight into an 800 for time. 2 rounds of that. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think that's probably the hardest set I've ever swam. I remember also we did a set. He wasn't there for this. I think he had something to do in the office, but it was a 3,000 for time, and it was what he said. He said go fast, and so we finished at 3,000 for time, and we had like 100 easy, and it was 2 500 kicks, and it was a go even faster. Other like just classic, a lot of yardage. It's just a lot of like things that you would think that are ridiculous that we do, but that's what he does.
So how did you fare on this 800s set?
I remember because Akram Mahmood was training with us at this point, and I was beating him on the first round. I was doing really well in the first round, and then we switched to our upstairs pool.
Okay.
So I remember
that's the slanted pool, right?
Slanted pool, yeah.
Okay.
And so I did really well on the first round of the set, and we walked upstairs. And the first 800, I remember like almost drowning. And then we had like a 50 easy, and then I kind of like recouped myself in the 250s. And then we had the 8 100s on a minute, which I made. And we had the final 800, and I had finally gotten like used to the temperature change. And then I swam pretty well on that one. I mean, it was a crazy workout because I mean we were all Eric, Curtis, Akram, and I. We were all pretty much together the whole set,
Mhm.
especially the last 800 go. So we were all just exhausted. But those are the sets that are fun. Is when everyone's just so broken down and tired, and you know everyone's in that position, but you're still just racing and seeing who can get the wall first.
Yeah. What? Tell me a little bit about that training group because yeah, you've got Eric, you've got Curtis. I don't know how long Akram was there, but I mean that's pretty stout distance
Yeah,
training.
our distance group is I think unmatched, like in terms of depth, especially coming in this next year when we add James and then Aslak the next year. But it's a battle. Every day you'd come into practice and you wouldn't know who would show up. So sometimes Danny Erlenmeyer, the senior, and who kind of sometimes would stay back, would just blow it out of the water on a pull set. And then sometimes Curtis, when we were doing hundreds long course, would just beat Eric and I. And it really just depends on the day. I mean, you have to bring your A game. You'd had to bring your A game pretty much every day if you wanted to win, and which was really refreshing. So I really hadn't had that like training aspect in club. So to show up every day and fight was a really cool experience, and it's only going to get better too.
Yeah. Uh, what was the transition for you um, from racing in a club meet to racing in like a college dual meet?
The energy. So kind of club meets are kind of more low key. No one really. I mean, especially like for early season club, everyone kind of has the mindset, oh, I can not really slack off, but it's just a club meet. It's low key. But at my first dual meet, it was against South Carolina. And I remember we walked up because you have the lower pool and you walk up the stairs onto the upper pool for warm up, and the seats were full. I know you've been to NC State. You know how it cramped and crowded on the upper pool, and it was so loud, and just the energy of the crowd. I think it's one of the the most nervous I've been. I've never like swam under that in that environment before. So I think the environment change was the biggest thing.
Yeah. That I mean, for those of you who haven't been to NC State's facilities, it's certainly one of a kind. They've got a downstairs. They've got two pools pretty much right next to each other. The downstairs one, which is only like what 5 stairs or so,
Yeah, it's
it,
like 5 stars.
is 25 yards by 50 meters,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go upstairs and you've got a 25-yard pool that's also the dive well. I think it's 8 lanes, or you
It's eight.
usually have 8 lanes.
You can have 10, but one of them gets really small.
Okay. And so you have like 8 25-yard lanes and then the dive well, and it's slanted. So like the best lanes to swim in are like the
Oh,
outside.
your audio's cut out.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you're back now. Yeah.
The which there's like a side that's better to swim on. Like lane 4 isn't the best lane, right?
Lane eight's the best lane because it's the deepest.
Okay.
Lane 4 feet maybe, and then lane eight's like 10 feet. So
Yeah. So it's certainly one of a kind facility. Did you ever swim in lane 1?
I swam in lane 1 once for a workout, never in a meet.
Okay.
The workout was, I remember this. It was a Saturday practice. In white group, the distance group, we normally finish last from
Mm-hmm.
our training. Our training group is longer. We had finished a little earlier than the red group, and so the way we do our training groups is there are 2 groups in the bottom pool, and then 1 group in the top pool, and we just kind of rotate out, just depending on the week. And white group had finished, or our group had finished, and where we put our bags, we have to walk up the stairs onto the upstairs pool, walk like around the pool and go down the stairs again, and there's like a bunch of like hooks on the wall where we hang our bags. And so when you walk by the turn end of the pool on that little ledge right where the stands are.
Mm-hmm.
And so Braden, I'm walking with my bag, and Braden yells, "Ross, jump in the pool. We got 3 100s fast." So I had already warmed down, and like I thought I was done for the week. And then Braden yells at me. He said, "Hey, come on!" So I had put my bag down and I jump in, and it was 3 100s like freestyle all out. And I was right next to Coleman and Noah Hensley in lane 1. So I had a fun time with that.
Wait, well, hold on. It was just you 3?
It was the entire red group, but Coleman and Noah were in lanes 2 and 3.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I was in lane 1. So yeah,
What did you go?
I think I was 49 on all of them.
Pretty good.
I think so. I think it was more just Braden yelling at me that got me going.
Was so the whole red group did this. Did was everyone else just standing, watching, and cheering?
Pretty much. So like, yeah, it's the white. I'm normally one of the first people to like walk up. 'Cause I normally hurry out of the pool because I'm cold. So all the other white groupers were standing on like the lip, yelling at me to go while they're or laughing at me while I was suffering.
And that's what supportive teammates do.
Oh yeah.
Um, has I mean that sounds like a very memorable training moment. Is there something that tops that for you?
There is. So during Christmas training, we have a set that's called Killing Hogs. They post a lot about it on social media. I don't know if you've probably seen it. And they've been doing this set since like the 80s or something. Braden did it back when he swam.
Oh wow.
So the set it's a set where it goes X amount of 300s, X amount of 250s, X amount of 200s, X amount of 150s, X amount of hundreds, X amount of 50s, and X amount of 25s. And the way you progress through you descend the yardage is if people go fast enough and when the coaches feel like it.
Okay.
And so the day before, somebody normally puts on a jacket suit, so the full body suit, and swims a 200 stroke. And if they go best time, we completely get rid of the 250s. So
Okay.
Eric Desmus, he swam a 2-flying at like 141 in a jacket suit. And so we've never had this on the 250s. So I think we swam like 5 or 6 300s. And the way it works, we have 3 people per lane and you go in heats. So the first heat will go, you'll swim, and then you'll sit on the wall for like 6 minutes or so, and you'll
Okay.
do it again. And it's like a 3-hour practice. And so you'll descend through it. So like swam you swam the 300s, the 200s, you pulled the 150s, kicked the hundreds, swam the 50s with fins. And what's really special about the 25s is the seniors get out first. So you'll swim 25, swim like 425, the seniors get out. And they come and cheer. And you swim a couple more, and the juniors get out. And then the sophomores and freshmen will swim, and the sophomores get out. So it's just the freshman guys. And then the freshman girls get out, and then it's just the freshman guys. And then the freshman guys will swim, and the freshman guys get out one at a time. And the 25 intervals are descending. So none of them are on interval. They're all like on a whistle. So when you're swimming the 25s, the intervals are getting tighter and tighter. So you have less time on the wall, and they're all no breath 25s. And so you go until there's one person left. And the one person left was me. And I remember the whole team around my lane with Dino and Bobby on the other end. And I was doing these 25s no air after a 3.5-hour long practice. And it was a really memorable experience just because I think I did like 4 or 5 before they told me to get out. So
How do they? Wow, killing hogs. That sounds pretty epic.
yeah,
How
it's
do
fun.
they decide like which of the freshman guys get out?
It's mainly by if you're dying or not. So like the couple of the sprinter, like the low aerobic guy or the low aerobic guys will get out first, and then we'll kind of just let people go out and based on how fast you're swimming, and it just kind of depends on the coach's preference.
Gotcha. That sounds awesome. Um, so where let's transition a little. You mentioned that you live pretty close to the mountains in North Carolina. Are you from North Carolina
I
originally?
am.
Okay.
Yeah, Hickory, North Carolina.
All right. So yeah, tell me about your hobbies outside of swimming.
So Hickory's a pretty small town. Not really too much to do here. So the Appalachian Mountains are about an hour to an hour and a half away from where I live. So growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts, and actually an Eagle Scout. And I think I got that like when I was younger, like 16 or so. And so from there, that kind of instilled this love of nature, I would say. So I've been trying, especially during this quarantine, since everything like movies and stuff are closed. I've been trying to find a lot of things to do outside. So almost every weekend I've been going up to the mountains and hiking with friends or going fishing or just stuff like that where I can be outside and not have to go to the movies or go to the mall to be entertained.
Yeah. Tell me about the quarantine. I know you guys. I think you guys went home pretty early after every the NCs were canceled. What were you able to swim? Or are you able to swim now?
Yeah, I after NCAA's got canceled, we all went home pretty quickly afterwards. And then I ended up everything kind of shut down here for about 2 months to a month and a half. And then thankfully our YMCA opened up just the pool. So in North Carolina, they allowed pools open but not gyms. And since it was a gym and a pool, we didn't really know what was going to happen. But they managed just to let the pool part open. And our pool, at our YMCA, we have a 8-lane and 25-yard pool indoors and an 8-lane 50-meter pool outdoors. So we have both.
Wow.
It's really nice. So we swam short course for, let me see, about 3 weeks or so after about taking a month off, or 2 months off, excuse me. And ever since then, I've been 100% outdoor long course, which is it's been really nice.
Dude, I love YMCAs. They're so nice.
They are.
So when you were out of the pool, were you staying active at all? Did you just totally take 2 months off?
No, the coaches have been really good about giving us workouts and stuff. So there's a Google Sheets that's probably 40 some pages long, like biking workouts, running workouts, abs. We still do abs every day. Different things you can do, dry land. I try to bike like 20 miles a day, like 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon during those 2 month period. There's abs every day, pull-ups, body weight exercises. And I've been really lucky. My neighbor has an in-home gym in his basement. So every Tuesday, Thursday, I'll go over there. Tuesday, Thursday, I'll go over there and lift, which is really nice.
That sounds like a great setup.
It's nice. But I'm missing NC State and the coaches and the family there.
Yeah, certainly makes sense. Is the plan for NC State to head back to school fairly soon?
Yeah, some people are already there. Our school starts the 10th.
Okay.
So I'm moving back in, I think the 8th. So once everyone gets there, we're going to have to get a COVID test. We really don't know how training's going to work quite yet. But we're going to be able to swim. I think our pool opens the 10th. That's at least what they've been saying. So we'll get back and hopefully get a normal training schedule or swimming in our pool before our season starts.
Gotcha. That seems positive for sure. In terms of getting outdoors hiking, what's been one of your favorites that you've done recently?
Yeah, I hiked the Profile Trail of Grandfather Mountain. It's 4 miles straight up a mountain, and then you get this beautiful view of, like, I don't know if you've ever been, but Grandfather Mountain, it's one of the more iconic mountains in North Carolina, and it has the face of if you look, it's got a rough face of an older man, with a beard and a nose. And so you're hiking up this mountain, and it's like just the sheer rock face, and then you get to the top, and you can see like the face and stuff, and it's really cool. It was a very strenuous hike, but it was really fun.
Yeah. So that's like a 8-10 mile hike round trip?
Yeah, it was like 8 miles. I think it's like the profile view is like halfway up the mountain, halfway up the trail, and then you can hike to the very top. And you're on one of the highest mountains in North Carolina. You can just look and see like a 360-degree view of all the Appalachian Mountains and stuff, which is really cool.
That is pretty awesome. That sounds super pretty. I'm a little bit jealous.
It's awesome.
So Ross, to wrap this conversation up, moving forward, a lot of uncertainty, but do you have any goals for yourself in the next couple of weeks once you get back to NC State? What's your life going to look like moving forward a little bit?
What my life's going to look like moving forward, I think my biggest goal right now is Olympics, Olympic trials, because that's really the only meet that's set in stone right now. We really don't know. Our season's kind of up in the air right now, as is everyone's. And the only meet we know for sure is happening is Olympic trials. So I think I'm going to go into this season with that being my main goal, is to make myself as ready as I can for that meet. And just to get back and be a leader on the team, bring back good energy, especially with the distance group. Because I think our distance group we got upgraded. So we're going to have an even better training group than last year. Even though it's going to be different, I think we're going to be great. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, Ross, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Well, thank you for inviting me on here.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.